All right, so part two of our videos for today for this PowerPoint is Hinduism, talking about Hinduism's impact on society, because we know as a religion, Hinduism dominates India's society. It says 80, last time it was 80% of India's population, 1.34 billion people claims to be Hindu. So it's important to kind of look at its impact currently and in history. All right, so we look at with India. One of the biggest impacts, long-lasting impacts, is the caste system. It's really, in a sense, a social hierarchy, and really strictly stratified social hierarchy in India, where we see it broken down into four main castes. We have here on the right-hand side, kind of nicely highlighted here, and then we have this last caste on the bottom. We'll get into talking about that in a moment. The highest caste, or the Brahmins, are these priests, these learned individuals that hold all the knowledge and the religious understanding in society, and that's why they're at the top. The next is the Kshatriyas. This caste system is associated with the ruling class, these warrior class, where they are the defenders of India, defenders of Hinduism. And that's why they get next to the priests, the religious individuals, they get that second highest set, or second highest caste. And then you have the Vaishyas. The Vaishyas are an important part of society, because they recognize that the trading, the commercial goods, buying and selling, or planting, farming is an important part. Right? So that's why these individuals, these Vaishyas, yes, they're not all the way at the top, but they still hold an important place in society, in Hindu society. Sorry. And then we have our next lowest class would be the Sudras, these servants. They're the really unskilled labor. They're not the tradesmen. They don't have a particular skill, whether it's working animal husbandry, working on a farm, working with woodworking. They're the ones that are kind of doing the menial labor, just heavy lifting, carrying thing. They're not very valuable to society, but they're still not the lowest of the low. That is reserved for this group down here, the untouchables, and they are very literally untouchable. Many in Indian society, even today, that despite the fact that the caste system has been outlawed since the 1950s, there are millions, tens of millions of people still part of this untouchable caste, where many people believe that physically they are dirty, because for the most part they are incredibly impoverished, so they are unclean. They're carrying some kind of disease, so people don't want to make physical contact or be physically near them. But also we think about spiritually, the idea of reincarnation with dharma and karma, that people see these untouchables as serving some kind of punishment for a wrong in a past life, and that's why they are in that caste. That's why they are that low. So they should be treated as some kind of villain in society, and kind of, like I said, exiled, pushed to the limits, the outskirts of society. And that has led to a lot of underlying problems in modern day India, where these groups are just wallowing in almost inhumane conditions. But we'll talk more about that later. And part of it is right here. We see the division in Indian society. You have the very poor, almost, like I said, inhuman conditions for the untouchables, and the very wealthy, the extravagant lifestyle of the wealthy class in India. All right. Technically, yes, the caste system has been outlawed, and yes, some of these untouchables have been given jobs by the government because private businesses do not want to give them jobs, so they're not going to. But their situation is still not improved. They're still not seen as valuable members of society. So it's better than it was, but they're still not living. These groups of people, these untouchables, these quote unquote untouchables, still don't have a sustainable life. Right? They are faced with hardships day in and day out. For the most part, they are undernourished. Well, not for the most part, they are undernourished. Most of them do not receive an education. They're not going. They are living on the streets. They don't have stable housing. They're at times living in their own filth. And a lot of that is targeted at this kind of ingrained view of the untouchables as dirty people. And we see that there's a difference between city life and urban life and rural life. In the cities in India, these lines between untouchables and these different are beginning to blur because they tend to lessen this difference much quicker. We see that with other areas of society, whether you want to look at India or Europe, America. Changes tend to come in these cities because people are forced together in such relatively tight quarters. Right? So again, technically with the outlawing of the caste system, these untouchables received some voting rights, but there have been restrictions placed on them. So it's not really universal suffrage. It's not really universal voting. So we can't really say that they've made that jump yet. But it's still a step in the right direction. It's taken too long, but a step in the right direction. And part of what's pushing that towards further realization of equality is globalization. The fact that India has become a major player in the global economy, both in terms of production and services. So it gives the opportunity to some of these people, these untouchables, jobs and ability to kind of build themselves out of their current situation. But like I said, the rural areas, the change is happening, but it is very slow. It is very resistant. They tend to be more, I don't want to say closed-minded, but more attached to their older ways, more attached to those older values. All right, so next one we'll talk about the other religions in India. Talk about Jainism and Sikhism, two religions that beyond Hinduism and Buddhism that impact India.